Thank you very much, Aidana, and greetings to all participants here. As Aidana said, my name is Zumrad Katayeva, and I'm assistant professor at the Graduate School of Education. And I'm gonna talk about why study higher education at the Graduate School of Education. My specialization is in higher education, so I'm encouraging our participants and maybe those who thinking to get to be a future student of our Graduate School of Education, and maybe thinking about to choose a higher education specialization. So let me share the screen. Okay, so do you all see my screen? Yes. Okay, great. So let's start. Before starting, I would like to do some. I prepared some questions for you, and when, for instance, when you hear someone saying higher education, what comes to your mind? Any ideas? You can put it in a chat, or you can turn on your microphones, and let's start with some warm-up activities. When you hear someone saying higher education, you hear or you sing or you read. Okay, Maria saying lectures, university, majors, professor, exactly. Well done, Maria. Any other ideas from our participants? Nargis, assignments and research, exactly. Okay, that's good. Who else? Any other ideas? I think, okay, what you talking about, that's all related to higher education. Exactly. We always have lectures. We always have when university, exactly, and majors, professor, assignments. When you are students, you are definitely doing some assignments, and you do research in universities. Okay. What about higher education institutions? I think you already mentioned something, right? When you read or someone saying higher education institution, what comes to your mind? Any ideas? Okay, our student alumni Elena is here. Hello, Elena. So.
Good day.
Hello, Elena. So we are doing some, warm-up activities with our participants, and when you hear someone saying higher education institution, what comes to your mind? Do you have any association with these three words? Any ideas? I think you already mentioned in the earlier, right? Accreditation. Well done, Myriad. Elena is saying curriculum, exactly. Yes, all higher education institutions are trying to be accredited by reputable accreditation agencies, right? And of course, we all working on curriculum. All programs have to have some curriculum, and there is quality assurance, exactly. Bologna, well done, thank you. Okay, so another question, some quiz for you. Okay, how many students enrolled in higher education globally as of 2016, approximately? Participants, do you have any ideas? So first, the answer is First, A is 216 million, B 250 million, C 150 million, and D 120 million. Which, okay, all right, we have C. Okay, Elena is saying 150 million students worldwide. Any other ideas, ladies? Nargis, C. Okay. Who else? Any other guesses? You can just guess. Don't worry to be wrong. That's fine. That's why we are here, right? Any other ideas? B. Aybarshin is saying B. 250 million. Aybarshin, a little bit closer. A little bit closer. Any other ideas? One more? A. Exactly, Aybarshin. So as 2016, we have approximately 216 million students globally enrolled in a higher education institution. And it is actually predicted that this number will be much more in 2030 and 2040, right? Okay, next question. How many students enroll in higher education institution in Kazakhstan as of 2020? Any ideas? A, B, C, or D? Okay, I see. Jana is saying B, Aybarshin is saying A. Okay. Any other ideas? B, C. Good. Okay. The right answer is B. Well done. We have, as of 2020, we have in Kazakhstan 604,300 students overall. Okay. Next question. How many higher education institutions exist in Kazakhstan as of 2020? Of course, there are reforms, right, are going on in Kazakhstan, merging of institution, closure of institution, but let's guess how many students? Okay. Yeah. Okay, B. Any other ideas? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have one more, right? Oh, sorry. What happened with chat here? Sorry, can you turn on your microphone and say the number, because something is in the chat.
Hello, maybe C.
Maybe
C?
B. B.
C, okay. Any other ideas? C
A.
is close.
Maybe A.
A.
Exactly, we have 129 higher education institutions in Kazakhstan as of 2020. Okay, and last questions to all of you. As of 2020, the number of higher education institutions in Kazakhstan doubled, tripled, quadrupled, or did not change compared to 1991. Any ideas?
Tripled.
A.
Doubled.
Doubled, exactly, doubled. Well done, everyone. Thank you for your participation. Well done. Okay, let's start, with talking about higher education as a field of study. Higher education is becoming as a field of studies due to a massification of global enrollments, right? There is, as we said, there is more than 216 million students enrolled and more than 1,800 in universities worldwide. We also see internationalizations, the flows of students worldwide, right? Students are traveling to study in other countries, and the number of international students are getting higher and higher. Of course, higher education is a social institution that plays a major role in economic and social development, right? It is one of the tools for the upward social mobility. And because of this massification, because of the growth of the system, a number of universities and so leaders and administrators of institution has to actually gain more experience, get more expertise about the expanding size and scope of the higher education, right? So this is the approximate, figure shows the approximate growth enrollment ratio in tertiary education. So you can see that from 1970 to 2014, for instance, in North America, in Europe, in Central Asia, the number of students are actually doubled and even tripled throughout the whole world, right? In North America, in Latin America. So it's becoming more and more popular to study in higher education institutions, right? So there are higher education institutions, right? Universities, colleges, they're very large and complex organization, and also they require skilled management, innovative leadership, and effective framework for decision making, right? Because universities are becoming so big, there are more and more departments are opening, students affairs, academic affairs, right? So there should be skilled people who manage higher education institutions. Of course, universities are what? Knowledge producers, right? Through research, universities produce knowledge, and of course the knowledge consumers. We study, we gain more expertise, we read articles, right, and we read books and gain more and more expertise in higher education. So so as I said, universities, the study of higher education in universities is interdisciplinary, and now it is becoming a recognizable field of study. There are reputable journals in higher education. There are publishers that focus on higher education. There are lots of national, international conferences on higher education, research center organization, and others. So research center and research institute, they studying higher education, right? So we see more and more degree and non-degree educational leadership programs in higher education. We see globalization of higher education, right? And I already mentioned about internationalization, and all of you mentioned quality assurance and accreditation. We are talking about higher education institutions. So we strive to get high quality teaching, learning, right? And many institutions now strive to be accredited by international accreditation institutions. So all of these, all these trends are becoming more and more popular, and higher education is becoming very reputable field of study nowadays. So this is what is happening, worldwide, and what's happening is Kazakhstan, right, in post-Soviet transformation. As you know, in 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Kazakhstan and all 15 countries, they had to build market economy, right? If before we had Kazakhstan and other post-Soviet countries had centralized administrative system. So now, after 1991, all countries moved to the market economy, which affected higher education in Kazakhstan and other post-Soviet countries. So there is a nation buildings, right? We all now, all these republics are becoming independent countries and becoming new nations. There is a kind of looking for the national identities and other trends. So unfortunately, there were economic decline, which affected higher education as well, because obviously there was one country, right, Soviet Union, but once the whole system collapsed, all countries faced economic decline, which affected higher education institutions, the public financing becoming much more less than it was during Soviet times. So at some point, institutions, faced decline in financing, and they had to find other way to finance higher education institution. In some countries, there were political instability and conflicts, but in some places there are still, as we know, right? So after the collapse, what is happening that the many laws of education has actually allowed for establishment of a non-state sector. We see that many higher education institutions, they introduced tuition fees, right? If before, during Soviet time, students did not pay for education, for higher education. Now there was introduction of tuition fees. There was introduction of national standardized tests for admission exams, right? If before each higher education institution has their own examination, after the collapse, so when Kazakhstan and other countries became independent, they started to introduce national standardized test, right? And there were decentralization of the governance of higher education institution. There is a lot of reforms in terms of financial autonomy in higher education, and recently, Kazakhstan has adopted another law about higher education. And of course, there was state grants in Kazakhstan, right? Many other countries has also introduced some kind of loans, scholarships, state grants for students, and performance-based funding. That also not all countries, but in Kazakhstan we know there are state grants, right? And when you get high scores in examination, you can apply for state grants. Okay, so any questions so far from the audience? Not? Okay, let's, we will have some time for questions, okay? So as we had in our exercise, right, number of universities and institutions doubled in Kazakhstan. During Soviet times, there were approximately 61 universities, right, in 1991. But as of 2020, we have 129 universities. So there are tendencies in Kazakhstan and many countries. Now we have private universities. There is a very much internationalization trend, right? Students many international students come to study to Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstani students go to other countries to study, right? And we have in Kazakhstan Bolashak program. Do we have any graduates of Bolashak programs here?
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes, I graduated from a UK university, Reading University. Yes,
Oh,
in 2017, yes, and I took my master's degree within leadership and management.
Oh, great. Okay. So you are now back to Kazakhstan?
Yes, of course, I work at university as a senior tutor and master, and I pursue to take maybe another opportunities to develop my professional skills in future.
Great. Thank you very much, Elmira, right? Okay.
Yes, yes, of course.
Thank you so much, Elmira, for talking about. So we have an example of of alumni Volashak program, and of course in 2010 Kazakhstan joined Bologna process. This is known also as European higher education area, right? And now in all universities we have programs as Erasmus, programs in student exchanges. Do we have any students who participated in any semester work abroad or through their universities? Okay, all right. But I think all of you know someone, your peers, or maybe in your universities, they have student mobility programs where you could spend one semester abroad, and your actual, okay, we have some, yes, okay. Anar, right? Did you study abroad?
Hello. Yes,
Hello.
I'm currently I'm the first year master student here at GSE, and when I was studying my bachelor's during the sophomore year, I had the one semester academic mobility program. I attended to the academic mobility program and visited China as exchange student.
Great, great. Thank you, Aidana, thank you, Anar, sorry, for bringing your example. So this is some of example of the, joining to the Bologna process, and student mobility is one of the principles of the Bologna process. So Kazakhstan is the only Central Asian country that is actually a member of the Bologna process. Okay, let's move. So if our main topic is okay, Akmaral is saying send this presentation to my email, please. Aidana, is it okay if we send if you can, Akmaral, if you can leave your email with Aidana, please. And I think this is the presentation is also recorded. I think you can also have access to this presentation later. Okay, all right. Okay, all right, Akmaral. So Graduate School of Education, right? So our central question today is why study higher education is actually in Graduate School of Education of the Nazarbayev University. I talked about, how the higher education emerges the field and all the trends, not all, but some of the trends that are happening in worldwide and Kazakhstan. And there are many areas that you can, research, and you can study more about higher education. We all are passionate here. So our students, right, Yelena, she's our graduates, and I see here Jana as well. So I'm sure you can talk about it more than me. So if you want to add something to my presentation, you are very welcome. So Graduate School of Education, we are dedicated to becoming a world-class center for research and for teaching, right, on education, with focus on educational reforms in Kazakhstan, Central Asia, and we are, of course, retaining a broad international approach, and we are kind of striving and seek to promote and assist in the implementation of cutting-edge research on educational challenges and issues from preschool through university levels, right? So probably some of you know that we offer at the master level, we offer 3 specialization, right? It's school education, higher education, and inclusive education. So today I'm talking about higher education, right? So I'm not gonna read my presentation, but in short, I would like to say that we are striving and we are designing our program to provide our students with the skills, knowledge, and capacity that necessary to lead for change within the work institution, communities, or to serve the larger society, right? In our program, students will develop in-depth understanding of the national, international educational issues and strategies for leadership and change management. We have methodological approaches appropriate for researching educational topics, which is important Kazakhstan and other international contexts, right? And of course, Masters in Educational Leadership program is designed for individuals working in universities, schools, pedagogical university, Ministry of Education, think tanks, or policy kind of research institution, NGOs, right, non-governmental organization, or development organization. So all of, if you studied and would like to be an expert in higher education, you can always, come to Graduate School of Education and be part of our program, right? So in higher education, we're designing and we are trying to give you strong theoretical and conceptual and empirical understanding of the foundation of higher education, right? Educational leadership, organization, governance, administration, and management. We are giving you skills for planning, budgeting, and financing of higher education system, policy reforms, right? And of course, we definitely are talking about globalization and internationalization, which are actually shaping national, regional, and international policies. And lastly, the program equips students with skills necessary to lead changes and reform within their own institution and countries. So courses offered, we have in our program core and elective courses. So some of the courses are listed here. Of course, you are going to take a course on contextualizing educational reform in Kazakhstan. You will definitely will have research methods courses, because in order to develop research skills, you have to know what methodologies exist, right? Qualitative, quantitative, mixed method research, and which you're gonna apply for your thesis writing and your future careers. There are fundamentals of higher education course. There is an organization and governance in higher education course. There is a course which talk about student experiences, learning, and success in higher education, right? There is a course about policy analysis and development. And of course, on the second day of the program, you will have thesis seminar 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, where you will be working on your own thesis on your topic. Of your chosen topic, which is interests you, and you want to develop a good research and write a thesis, right? So I'm bringing here some of the topics of our students and that are defended. They're already alumni of our program in higher education. So you can see that they all students are actually have very diverse topics in when they are writing their thesis. For instance, Aliyah, she was looking at the students' perception of academic dishonesty, right? And she actually talks about, what academic dishonesty mean, some of the issues in higher education in Kazakhstan and worldwide actually is plagiarism, right? And so she was researching a case of Kazakhstani university about student perception of academic dishonesty. For instance, Maya was doing research on research productivity in the contemporary Kazakhstan, and you see there is a research on Bolashak returnees. So how Bolashak returnees to actually adapt to their home countries after coming back to Kazakhstan. Another student, she was talking about inclusion in higher education, and she was talking about students with physical disabilities, their perception of studying in higher education institution with physical abilities. And Aygul was looking at the students who spent a semester on study abroad, and what were their expectation of after coming back to Kazakhstan and spending one semester. So you see our students have very diverse research topics. They were very passionate about their thesis, and they all successfully graduate from the program. So our faculty, this is very diverse. We have diverse faculty with international background and experiences. They all are graduates of international university. For instance, University of Pennsylvania, right? Oxford, Cambridge, Kentucky, Buffalo, Minnesota, and etc. These are some, you see the pictures of our faculty, including myself. So we all affiliated with higher education program, and we teach in higher education program. So this is the list of some research project that is carried by our faculty. Again, you see that the research projects are very diverse as well. So there is a research about academic profession in Kazakhstan. There is research about readjustment experiences of Kazakhstani returnee scholars. There is research about university-industry partnership, and there is a research about mainstreaming gender equality in higher education in Kazakhstan. Okay, and career option, my last, slide and topic that I wanted to cover today. So this is, you can see career option for our students are very different as well. After graduation, our students working in colleges and universities, administrations, right? In governmental agencies, they work in non-governmental agencies, they work in international development agencies such as UN, United Nations, UNDP development program, in UNESCO, and UN Women. So our graduates are working in think tanks and analytical centers. They are actually founding their own educational organizations. They become policymakers, right? They are becoming development professional, a consultant. And of course, our graduates have opportunity to pursue further PhD degrees in Nazarbayev University, as well as in our international universities abroad. So this is some of the career options. Of course, you have, it is not only this, they do many other careers in higher education. The programs gives you different skills and very diverse skills for you to become educational leaders and gain expertise, research skills, new knowledge about the functioning of higher education institution and the systems overall. So thank you. This is my email. If you have any question, please email me. And I think we have time for questions, right, Aidana? Do you think we can open floor for questions?
Yes, sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any question from our participants? Maybe Jana or Elena, I see you here. Aliyah joined us, right? Maybe you have some thing to say. Or maybe our participants have questions.
Hello.
Hello, Aliyah.
Hello. Yes, hello. Dear professor, dear peers and participants. I'm really happy to see you here, and the topic I think is very important about why studying at GSE.
Mm-hmm. I brought your thesis as an example, Aliyah. Yeah. We don't hear you, Aliyah. I think your mic.
Yeah, so GSE school, so it gives maybe all those who apply to the school a lot of practical skills and a lot of theoretical knowledge, and the understanding how to conduct research, how to be an ethical researcher. And I think this is the right. So if somebody chooses to study at Nazarbayev University and at GSE programs, I think so this is the right choice, because I had only positive experience. And all of us right now, all my cohort right now is waiting for the graduation. So just to see our professors and the school again. Thank you, Professor Zumrad.
Thank you very much for nice words. Any questions?
Hello, Professor.
Hello.
Elmira again. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was interesting presentation, especially for me, because I work at university, at higher university. And my question is related to the issues. I just want to understand, or maybe to ask you one question. How do you think within higher education system, what is the big problem, especially, or issue, especially for higher education of our Kazakhstan university, to be more proactive, to be more competitive in comparison with Nazarbayev University? I understand that finance is not the first issue to be more competitive, to be more productive, but what are the issues related to be a good university, to be more qualified university?
Thank you very much for your question. You know, I guess I can talk a lot about the reforms and issues about higher education systems in Kazakhstan, but I'll try to be short. Okay. You know, first of all, as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, right, even for the past 3 decades, there were so many challenges in higher education system, right? It is the joining to the Bologna process. This is financing, as you mentioned, and there was curriculum reforms in higher education. There were so many internationalization, right? And this is all these reforms are actually are taking time for institutions, because higher education institutions, the research actually demonstrates that they're very hard to adapt and to change because we have one system of working, and all of a sudden it's all changed. So I think when we talk about higher education institutions, they are doing a lot in order to transform these systems, right? So there are issues of autonomy, decentralization of the governance. So universities are given autonomy, but many universities are not ready to be autonomous, right? In making decision, in hiring, for instance, in research, in managing their finances, because the system was so centralized before. Everybody were told what to do. And now when we are talking about decentralization, right, universities are not ready. So there are issues with autonomy and decentralization. There are issues with introducing this research capacity of faculty. If we are talking about, there was most universities during Soviet times, there were teaching institutions. Their primary purpose, their primary role were teaching and prepare cadres for the economy. However, after the collapse and, for the past 3 decades, we are giving more kind of power for university to conduct research, and about this lots of talk about knowledge production, etc., and how we're gonna actually build a capacity for faculty and researchers to do the internationally capable and internationally recognized research, right? There are, of course, quality of teaching. There are things that sometimes students are complaining that universities are not giving them much skills for labor market. There is a gap between universities and labor market. Often when Kazakhstani students graduate from universities, they can find job because labor market actually is looking for different skills, right? So I think universities have to be working more with labor market, with businesses, with industries, with think tanks, and kind of prepare students for future. But of course, when people are talking a lot about it, that universities have the primary mission of universities building the skills, I always argue that there should be also intellectual development of students as well. Universities should not lose their kind of intellectual capacity in order to build skills, right? Because universities were historically, they were established on the basis of intellectuals. When the first universities in Bologna in 15th or 16th centuries, they were kind of a places where masters and professors, they were talking and they were building intellectual capacities. So I think there should be also universities have to have still not to lose their role or their capacity of building intellectuals for this society. So this is some issues. Of course, there are lots more, and as I said, I can talk because this is my passion. So, but I hope this is a little bit gives you more information on that.
Thank you very much, Professor, for sharing your thoughts. It was a lot, and I wish you luck and be proactive in your work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So you are working in Nazarbayev University, or?
No, I work at Atrau University.
Okay, all right.
Yes, it's western part of Kazakhstan.
Okay.
Close to Caspian Sea.
Always
okay, thank you.
Good to have participants from different parts of Kazakhstan.
That is why I'm interested by these issues, because we have lots of issues, we have lots of changes that need to be reconsidered, maybe to work with professional development fuse to be more competitive. But I understand that it's not just a financial problem. It's maybe a human resource problem also. Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay. Please come and join us. I think you would be a good candidate for our program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So I have a question in chat. In the part about financing as I work, as it makes me worried that back to its lack of facilities and that, for example, language learning students should have. Do you think the program will have an impact on how my spend his budget? Because at the end of the year, anyway, you need money on repair of not necessary things. Okay, thank you so much for your question. Could you please say your name, because I think you are connecting through mobile, right? And it gives the name of their mobile. Could you please turn on your mic? Okay, all right. I think maybe his video or mic is turned off. Anyways, I will try to respond. I don't really get what are you asking about financing and budgeting of higher education? But it doesn't. Okay, my name is Madina. Okay, Madina, thank you. I understand. So we'll have an impact on how spend its budget, because at the end of the year, yes, Madina, of course, we are, our program prepares you as educational leader in higher education, right? I don't know how you're gonna, it won't particularly will focus on finance and budget, but one of the electives will be offered as a financing and economics and financing of higher education. I don't know this year or next year, because we are reconsidering our program, but in these terms, you will be equipped with diverse skills, including budgeting and financing, but it's not concentrating only on financing and budgeting of higher education institution, and how because each universities have to decide what to spend money on, and repair of not necessary thing. Maybe this is the issue also of the governance, when the faculty and teachers, they have shared governance, when the faculty and teacher have their own voice in decision making, including a budget. So I'm not sure that if the question is about if the program prepares you for budgeting and economics, yes, it is included, but it's not solely focusing on financing and budgeting of higher education. So does it?
May I add something, Professor Zumrad? Like an alumni. Madina, I think that our Of course, you cannot influence on the government of your university, but this program, I mean, if it is the master program, will help you to, in different courses, in core and in elective courses, to develop this kind of topic and to present it from different perspectives. And maybe the university government will listen to you. So you can develop this kind of topic from different perspectives in different courses and to analyze and know how to present it better. So the courses can help.
Are you happy, Madina, with the answers? Thank you very much, Lena. Okay, thank you, Madina. Do we have any other questions? Or maybe someone wants to add something, comment. You are welcome. Okay. I'm 100%. Okay, Madina, thank you. All right. Okay. So I think we are done, right? Aidana, do we have anything else to in our agenda for today?
No, that's all. So if we don't have any questions from the audience, then it's the end of our event.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for coming to this presentation. I was happy to see all of you, and you know, Elena, Alia, Jana, our Anar. So yes, and other participants. I hope you will be interested in our program. You know, and come to be a part of the GSE community and part of the higher education community. Many thanks.
Thank you.